Oh my god, cheers! Happy New Year! Merry Christmas! Welcome back to my channel. I'm not even gonna try to acknowledge what year we are about to enter because in my brain it's like 2017 and I'm still 25. I don't even know if I was 25 in 2017. What is time? But wow, I'm actually so excited to sit down and film this video. I did a full beat of makeup, which is something that I never do for YouTube and rarely do in my real everyday life, but I figured we should go into 2025 looking good, feeling good, because I want this coming year to be the year that I do look good and feel good. So we are kicking it off strong. That is until I went a little too Miranda Sings on my lipstick, so ignore it. But cheers, cheers to you, cheers to 2024. Not really interested in cheersing to 2025 because it's gonna be a shit show for a lot of different reasons that I don't want to talk about in this video. That's why we have alcohol. Just kidding, this is fully kombucha. Alcohol will come tomorrow and then every day for the next 4 years. But here we are. It is time for the January plan with me slash annual 2025 reset and organization and planning video, and oh my god, we have so much to cover. I did pre-write and create almost everything that I'm going to discuss today, so I'm hoping that will save us a little bit of time. That said, I do still have a lot to talk about, so I will name the certain topics I'll be going over. I'll try to like stick to a topic when I say that I'm talking about a topic, but just to make things easier, because I know that you might be clicking on this video only interested in like goal setting or how I use Notion or any of the other things we're going to be talking about, so I will make sure to put timestamps down below so you can navigate to the places you want to navigate to. So the topics I will be covering in today's video to get us ready for 2025 will be reviewing my December 2024 goals. We're doing that first because if you're new here, I do a monthly plan with me every single month where I set goals for every single month. So I figured we can start just by like really quickly reviewing my December 2024 goals. From there, I will probably set my January 2025 goals just on my own because a lot of it is probably going to stem and be related to the like long-term 2025 goals I have, or just extensions of things that I've been doing in the past couple of months. So not really interesting or worth putting into this video. So after reviewing December, I want to go into my Q4 reflection because every quarter of every year, I've only been doing this for a little over a year, but in theory, every quarter of every year, I will do a reflection within my plan with me. So we are due for one of those. I'm then going to review the goals that I set for myself in 2024, last year, which are broken down into personal, social, and financial. We will then create, well, they're already created, but I will tell you about my goals for the year 2025, which I'm hoping will then lead me into a discussion about my routines and managing my routines, what that's going to look like for me in the coming year. I know I've mentioned in some previous video that my work schedule was going to be changing a little bit, so I have to kind of like rethink what my mornings and nights look like, and also new year, time for a refresh of those anyway. With that, I also want to actually show you guys my Finch app because I think I've mentioned that in a couple of videos now, how that's really been helping me in terms of habit changes and routines. So I want to actually like screen share and show you what's going on there. And then at the very end, I will just quickly review my YouTube growth since this time last year. Since I no longer have those reviews or conversations in my monthly plan with me, I figured why not, I can go back and like briefly talk about my experience with things over the past year. So if you're interested in any of that, please stick around, please skim the video or look at the timestamps down below to find the place that makes the most sense to you. And I guess, did I even mention how I'm going to be doing this? So I have my laptop with me, and with the exception of the Finch app, I use Notion to organize my life. And God, I don't know where I would be without Notion at this point. And I think just quickly it is worth noting that up until a little less than 2 years ago, maybe like 2 years ago, we'll call it 2 years. Up until like 2 years ago, I was a pen and paper girly. Like I love to write everything down every single year. I look forward to buying like the same planner from the same Etsy shop where I had everything neatly organized the way that I wanted it, and I would have a whole color system and use highlighters and markers, and it was a whole thing, and that brought me so much joy. And then one day when I was unemployed after moving to New York, I got into digital planning a little bit, and at first I felt like so against it, but then I realized how truly helpful it was for me and transformative for the way that I think about my routines, think about my goals, plan things on a daily basis, and just keep track of like pretty much everything. So I just want to get that out there, because if you are a skeptic of using digital planning tools and you are old school, old fashioned, just give digital planning a chance, because you don't necessarily need to use it for absolutely everything, but I can almost guarantee you there's at least one aspect of something, whether it's Notion or Finch or like digital planning tools on your iPad, that could be really helpful, especially if you find yourself like really attached to the way that you do things by hand, but then also find that you aren't like sticking to those things that you write down or that you plan for, then that might be a hint to reinvent the wheel and try something else, which is essentially what I did. So this is my Notion dashboard. We will kind of get a little bit more into this later, but if you want to see the different iterations and find out more about the pages that I use, feel free to check out any of my previous Plan With Me or Reset videos where we dive kind of a little bit more into the layout and inspiration of things. For now, we are going to go down to my monthly goals, because like I said, we're going to start with the December goals to see what's been going on. After I film this video, I will go back, click a new month, put in my January goals. But for now, just looking back on December, what did I accomplish? Plan engagement photos? Absolutely not. Still have not done that. I don't want to talk about it. Find a hair salon? No. Try a new bakery? I did actually finally get around to doing this, and I will insert a picture here. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but when Evan, my partner, and I went to the Union Square like holiday market, I got myself, well, I got us, I had to share it. I got us a pistachio Italian donut that was absolutely delicious. Finally did that. More bakeries to come, hopefully. Send bridesmaid proposal gifts. I did finally do that, but more on this later, because in the quarterly reflection, I included a photo, so stay tuned. Finish blanket. This right here is my pride and joy. So for the past, I don't know how many months it's been. I think I started this in like April or May. I learned how to crochet the waffle stitch to make this beautiful green blanket to match our pink and green themed family room, living room, my office, TV, whatever. So for anyone who doubted if I would actually do it, I did finally do it. Plan a New Year's Eve party. So New Year's Eve is in 2 days. We will be having a party. Not anything like big or fancy, so not much to share, but I'm just excited we're finally hosting people at our apartment. Finished buying Christmas gifts. Obviously Christmas has come and gone, so I did that. Complete at least 2 paper chain garlands. This is as far as I got. So after, well, actually before I finished my crocheted blanket, I wanted to work on like DIY Christmas garlands, one for myself, and then I was gonna do some as Christmas gifts. This is unfortunately as far as I got. Honestly, learning this was like much more difficult than I thought it was gonna be. So I'm just proud I made it this far. And truthfully, I'm not gonna lie to you, probably like this much I've done it in the past like 2 days. So after Christmas, but I'm gonna keep going, finish at least one. I have plenty of yarn, so even if I don't do it like right now, I can always come back to it later. But at least it's cute. It's not giving pizza as much as I thought it would. Maintain Bake Shit Happen Etsy store. So if you don't know, I run an Etsy store where I sell clothing and apparel and gifts for really just people who enjoy food and baking and a good time. So I recently like kind of reinvented it and I've redone a lot, so there isn't much on there. Maintain, I know back in December I intentionally made this not a very specific goal, so I probably haven't maintained it as much as I would like, but I have definitely gone back and added to it numerous times, so I'm gonna go ahead and check that off. Go ice skating, we have not done yet, but there is still time. Winter will be here in New York for a number more weeks. Go to Union Square Winter Market. I did do that, as I said. We did not visit the Rockefeller Tree, and I continue to look into Rangers tickets. I have not purchased Rangers tickets because they are still expensive. I'm gonna check it off. So I'm heading to my annual goals page where I have my 2024 goals page, as well as I've already created one for 2025. Here's my Q4 reflection. I actually did not fill out the sections yet. I figured I would just briefly talk about it because that's just easier for the sake of this video. But I did already upload the 4 pictures that I include in all of my reflections. So the first one is Disney World. That was from October. That was one of 2 vacations that Evan and I went on this year, and it was my first time going to Disney World, and I lived my best Disney adult life, and I have no shame. And I think about Disney like at least 4 times a week now. I want to go back so badly. It was so much fun. Next is Halloween of this year. This also happened like within our vacation time, but was obviously in New York and not in Disney. But since Evan and I had just gotten back from vacation, we didn't really have plans, so I just threw on my old Stitch costume as well as my Stitch, what do they call that, like a spirit jersey or something, Stitch shirt that I bought, and we just went around bar hopping for the night and made a really delicious dinner. And then here, as I mentioned, is well, this is the Matron of Honor gift, which actually they're all pretty much the same. I did also give my sister a candle that said Bitch of Honor. Very playful, very fun. But I have 3 bridesmaids for my wedding. They all got this. I know I haven't really talked about wedding stuff yet because I haven't really done anything. This is like the most that I've done because life has just been lifing. But everyone has a shirt. I also have a matchy one that's white with orange letters. These are clearly, you probably have seen these designs before just on Canva, but then I designed the rest of the shirt myself using different Canva designs, but every bridesmaid has a different ghost, which I thought was cute. My wedding's gonna be in the fall and I love Halloween, so that was just kind of the theme of this box. A little makeup or jewelry bag, a little ghost ring, ghost earrings, a scrunchie, and then the little like Ouija board invitation or asking them to be my bridesmaid. So that was very fun to put together. And then, so this was in December is when I finally sent / gave these. I didn't include a picture for November because like truthfully, November was quite uneventful. When I was going through my photos, these 4 stood out the most. But then finally, this is my parents' new dog, Donner. Did not know he existed until I walked through their doors a couple days before Christmas. That is the second time they have done that to me. The first time was with our dog Penny, who very unfortunately and unexpectedly passed away a month or 2 ago. But when they got her, they did the same thing. I just opened the door and there she was, and she was the cutest little thing. We've always had 2 dogs. We don't typically get a new one so soon, but our other dog, Ruby, who was like much younger than Penny was just like beside herself and was not acting right, and my parents were like really worried about her, so they thought they would go ahead and just get another dog already, and those 2 are best friends. Okay, so the reflections are specifically for the past 3 months. So when thinking about what I was most grateful for these past 3 months, I think I would say family, just because I know that's like an easy answer and I'm grateful for my family all of the time. The past couple months in particular have just been like kind of rough family-wise, so I'm very grateful and lucky to have a strong support system that includes like my immediate family, my parents, my sister, my partner Evan, my cats as well. They don't know it, but they are the best therapy I could have ever had. What was I proud of? Oh gosh. This is where I'm not good at being like nice to myself, you know? But as I look at myself in the viewfinder and I look back on my luxurious blanket, I'm truthfully so proud for finishing this. I'm sure there are other things I could be proud of as well. Like, I'm sure work-wise I've like done some cool stuff, but like, I don't know, this blanket's really cool and it's really big and it's really fun and I can't wait to make more, but not anytime soon because this took forever. What do I wish I did more of? Definitely the past couple of months, I did not prioritize my physical health and just let that fully, I lost all grip on that. And you know, part of that was a mental health thing. Actually, probably most of it was a mental health thing, whereas previous months it was just like a laziness thing, which is also probably still a mental health thing. I don't know. Movement for me has always been very, very back and forth. So I'm trying to navigate that a little bit, and I'm hopeful that the new routines I create myself will help. So more on that later. But I definitely like, and I felt it too, just in terms of like not moving my body as much, not stretching as much, really noticing those things, because unfortunately, the older you get, the more you do notice those things and the less resilient your body is just from, you know, sleeping funny or sitting at a desk for many hours every single day. And then what do I wish I did less of? I feel like I always struggle to answer this question, and it's so hard because this question and the previous one could both easily be framed like in a negative light. I could switch that and just say like, oh, I wish I did less sitting around or ignoring my body and more of moving my body. So I don't know. I need to like, maybe I should redo these questions for next year. I think, yeah, I'll go ahead and switch that. So I'll say I wish that I did less sitting around and like ignoring my physical health, and I did more movement, but also more of my hobbies, because I feel like the past couple of weeks in particular, since work has slowed down, I've been like really in touch with my hobbies, like finishing the blanket, doing the other crochet projects, like like working on Etsy more, working on Notion stuff, working on YouTube stuff. That feels really good, but that's only been like the past couple of weeks and not the past 3 months. All right, and the time has come to review my 2024 goals, which I was very nervous to open this up at first because until I spent some of yesterday preparing for this video and like writing out my 2025 goals, which required me to look at my 2024 goals, I realized that I never once, except to get to my quarterly reflections, I've not once really like gone back to review my annual goals, which I think is a problem. I mean, we'll get into it. I definitely did more than I think that I thought I did, but I think at least when I do my quarterly reflections, not necessarily in the video, but I think I need to take the time to check in with my goals just as a reminder of what they are and to see what I could be doing more of, what I could be doing less of, and things like that. Because I definitely just like wrote them down this time last year and never looked at them again. And I don't think that's the point of writing them down, you know? Okay, so 2024. In 2024, I will, or now I could say I did for some of them, travel to 4 new places. I unfortunately did not. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, in retrospect, I feel like I should have gone back and watched my 2024 plan with me just to like hear more about the things and the context I gave to all these goals, but too late now. So anyway, I did not travel to 4 new places. I did travel to 2. We went to St. Thomas in March for our first vacation, Virgin Islands, never been before. I haven't really been anywhere before, so anywhere is almost new. Like I said, we went to Disney World. I have been to Florida, but not to Disney World. And I think I was hoping for more like road trips or car trips or visiting like other parts of New York or something, but yeah, I don't think we traveled anywhere new, local, or largely overall. Dive deeper into a new hobby. Again, I did not make this very specific, and I'm sure that was for a good reason because at the time I probably didn't know what that would be or what that would look like, but I'm gonna go ahead and check that off because I think between crocheting and YouTube and Etsy, granted I have not been like 100% consistent with all of those things, but I have kept up with them in various ways and doing all of those things more than I did the year before. So I think that's a win to celebrate. Make lots of apartment upgrades. So that is definitely something that we did. I will check that off. Off the top of my head, I probably can't sit here and tell you all the things that we did or did not have in this apartment in December of 2023, but just sitting in this room alone, I know that as of just like 2 months ago, we have a brand new TV stand, which we are in love with, a brand new coffee table, which we are in love with, a new kitchen island that I am obsessed with, and I mean, just those 3 furniture pieces alone have just like changed the game for me and how I spend my time in this apartment. Surely we've gotten more things, but those are some of the big ones that were top of mind, and yeah, very excited. They're like adult purchases that aren't just kind of IKEA bullshit, you know? Have a consistent movement routine. Not really. I will say, you know, trying to be positive and comparing to other years. Was I more active in 2024 than 2023? Probably. I know I had a lot more bouts of consistent weeks and months, and I've also had a lot of sedentary weeks and months, but I do think it was more than 2023, but not consistent in the way that I want it to be. Because consistency to me, it's not like it needs to be the same every single week. Like I need to work out like 5 out of 7 days, and if I don't hit that, then like it isn't right. It's not that extreme. It's like at least having intentional movement like twice, and you know, maybe it's twice for a couple of weeks, and the next week it's 5 times, and then the week after that it's 6 times, and it goes back to 2, and then maybe it's 3, then it's 4, then it's 2, then it's 5. Like that would still feel good to me. My issue is that I'll have consistent weeks that kind of look like that, but then like a month of nothing, and it's the month of nothing that doesn't sit well for me. So I'm not gonna check that off, but I will recognize the positive aspects here and say that I think I've been doing better, but I could also be better. This next one is funny. Reach 124 spin classes. Sarah of the past was just so naive. So naive. If I recall from that video when I said 124, I felt like I was genuinely setting the bar pretty low for myself. But as of yesterday, I am at 71 lifetime rides. But the reason that I say I was so naive is because I guess I can actually talk about this now, but I had a part-time job for quite a while having my full-time job. So it's a part-time job that I had before getting my full-time job, then I got my full-time job, and then I maintained that part-time job for a good bit of time because I needed the money, blah, 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 etc. eventually quit. Now we're here. So I worked at Cycle Bar. So I think in theory, I thought because I worked there, it would be easier for me to go, but no, in reality, because I worked there, I was probably even less likely to go, because if I was already waking up at least once, more often than not twice per week at 5:30 to go to a morning shift before my full-time shift at my actual job, I don't know why I thought I'd be inclined to wake up that early again once or twice a week to go back to take a class. That's just simply, yeah, maybe for some people, but that wasn't gonna work for me. I have always said if I lived closer to it, maybe, but I live a decent walk and multiple subway stop ride away. And that is a big commitment for the morning, and with my work schedule, I couldn't do evening classes. So yeah, the free membership I had while I had it did not go to the best use. I mean, the weekends, I have no excuse for that. I just got lazy about it sometimes. You already heard my spiel about movement this past year was very, very up and down. So I did not reach 124 spin classes. I only reached 71. I do still really love spin, and I hope that I do still have a membership that I had to pay for, unfortunately, but I do still hope that I can keep going and maybe find a little bit more consistency there. Improve my sourdough technique. I'm gonna check that off because one, if I've been consistent with anything, it's been bread making. No surprise there. But I feel like I have learned a lot about sourdough. I think between December of last year to December now, I've tried out a bunch of different techniques, and I'm feeling, you know, it's still a work in progress every single time. I've still had flops. I still have like a lot of room for growth, but I feel better about it at least. I think this time last year was also when I was like really struggling with my starter, so I think I finally got that under control. I don't know. I feel much better about it. Read more. See, this is one of the ones where I do wish I made it specific, and spoiler alert for 2025 goals, I do make it specific, because like, what does this mean? What does read more mean? Did I read as much as I wanted to? No, because I typically had read one book every month, a new book every month for my monthly goals and my monthly plan with me's, and I rarely did that. But did I read more than I did in 2023? I think so. We're gonna check it off. So that was our personal goals. God, I feel like this is taking forever. You know what? I'm not sorry. I should not apologize for anything. Social media. This should be quick and easy because there's really not much to check off here. Reach 10,000 subscribers. I still stand by the facts. I know that I said this in my 2024 planning video. I stand by the fact that I could have reached 10,000 subscribers if I committed to YouTube the way that I thought that I would, and I did not. So here we are at 3,000 something. With that, obviously I didn't get monetized, which is fine. This is just for funsies anyway. Getting monetized is mostly just to be like, I did that. Also, obviously money is nice, but like, I've been doing this shit for a little under 10 years now, on and off. If I really wanted the money that badly, or thought it was more about the money, I would have quit by now. Have updated filming equipment. I'm gonna check that one off actually, because I do have a light now and a mic. I do still want a new lens, and there's probably other like smaller gadgets that I could do to like help with my filming. For the sake of what this goal was, I'm gonna check it off. Get back into Bake Shit Happen Insta and TikTok. No, I didn't do that, but I got back into my Bake Shit Happen Etsy, which I almost wonder if in my last video, if I had specifically said Insta and TikTok, thinking that I would be more likely to get into those than into my Etsy, and now it's been flip-flopped. I'm not really sure, but I'm gonna check it off because I feel like it still counts. Meet other creators in New York City. Did not do that. Finance. This one should be quick, but also fun because I think I can check them all off. Pay off current debt. Mom and Evan, at the time, I apparently owed them both money, and I no longer owe them money, so we're gonna check that off. New debt will only come from traveling or large purchases. See, it's hard to reflect on that immediately after Christmas because I definitely put some shit on my credit card. Other than that, I'd say yeah, traveling, I used my credit card for Disney, but honestly saved. I just did that to get the points. We saved most of our money for Disney ahead of time. St. Thomas, a little bit of a different story. I think I paid off some stuff there. I'm gonna check that off. I do have a little bit of debt from Christmas, but like as to be expected. Buy a new computer, finally. Yes, I mean that's some debt that I have right now, but I am paying it off on the Apple 12-month plan and everything is fine. Save for an emergency fund, like put the fireworks off because I had a goal to save $1,500 for an emergency fund. I don't feel comfortable sharing how much I actually saved, but let's just say it was more than $1,500. And my fiance and I did open up a high yield savings account together, which, oh my God, why did I not do that a decade ago by myself? But we did that and we have collectively saved a lot of money this year, which is such a good feeling. I definitely put in more than $1,500 of my own money, so lovely. Learn/start investing. I'm gonna check that off off because I do have a retirement plan. I've learned a little bit about things, not as much as I probably would have liked to. That's technically starting to invest. And I think having a high yield savings account is also technically starting to invest, like small scale. So still a lot of growth here, but I'm gonna check it off anyway. Let's see, was this like my vision for 2024? I will be content with my career, managing my anxiety, taking advantage of living in New York City, social, just social. In my happy era, this is interesting. This is interesting. I'd say most of this is true. I'm content with my career. I'm managing my anxiety way better than I was last year. Taking advantage of living in New York City. I could be doing much better there. Social, I've hung out with more people this year than I did last year, but like I could be way better. In my happy era, see, this is weird where it's just like that mental health part comes into play, because when I talk about being content with my career, managing my anxiety and feeling really good about those, but then still kind of not feeling like I'm in my happy era, there's a disconnect somewhere. Not that those two things are like the end all be all for happiness, but like mental health wise, I think there's still other things that have to click, because yeah, I don't want to get into all that. We're not gonna get into all that. All right, so that means it is time for us to review my goals that I have for 2025. It's the same story anytime I make goals. I'm just like, I sit there and I think about things and I'm like, I'm sure I have a lot more I want to add to this, but I'm not really sure. So this might change over time. Also, let me know what your goals for 2025 are down below, because I would love to know. We can brainstorm, get inspiration from each other. Okay, so first and foremost, also in no particular order, because I realized get married is like halfway down this list, but it's probably the most important thing on here. Don't take it that seriously. Read 12 books minimum. So like I said, I was gonna make this goal way more specific this time around. 12 months, 12 books, you get the picture. And that's just minimum. That is where we are setting the bar, but if I end up going above that bar, that would be beautiful. Next is to have a 425-day streak on the Finch app by December 31st of 2025. You're probably like, 425, what, how, where is that number coming from? That is just simply 365 days. A year from now, plus my current streak, which is whatever that math is, 50 something. I'm currently at 50 something. If you're not familiar with the Finch app, again, I'll show you all how I'm using it later, but you gain a streak for just opening up the app every single day. It's not even necessarily like completing goals, but just the habit of opening the app to look at things. So I'm hoping to open the app every single day between now and December 31st of next year. Have a consistent weekday routine. So we will get more into this in my routine conversation. Also, when I show you my Finch app, so I can share with you the types of things that I'm doing and how I am conceptualizing my different routines, because yes, I will have different ones for different days. In 2025, I will also get married. Very exciting. Like I've said, I don't have much to share about that just yet. It's happening, so stay tuned. Another goal is to bake cakes or desserts for 3 events or celebrations. So this is a new idea that I had to kind of conceptualize some of my baking goals. As you saw earlier, I always like to try new bakeries. I've been trying to perfect my sourdough. So I thought for the year 2025, I will make it a goal to make desserts or cakes for 3 different events. And I'm not talking about like someone seeks me out to be like a random person and be like, make this cake for my daughter's 16th birthday. Like that's not, I don't advertise myself in that type of way, and I don't intend to. I mean, maybe one day, I don't know. I'm thinking just like smaller scale, like my nephew's next birthday party, like ask my sister if I can make his cake, and or like family parties, try to get my baking involved with their celebrations and then be able to share a thing that I created with everyone. I think that'd be really fun. So doing that at least 3 times this year feels doable. So we'll see. Kind of going off of that is to also host an event or celebration. And again, I'm not talking about like hosting large events. I just mean like how I'm having a New Year's Eve party at my apartment in 2 days. Just hosting at my own house, at my own place, doing something fun with friends and Evan and my family. So whatever that looks like, whether it's like a birthday party or a surprise party or a housewarming party or, you know, a potluck, a Friendsgiving, that type of thing. Need to be more social. So I would love to be able to do that. Especially now that my home is so cute and we have fun furniture, I want to show it off. So we kind of have a theme going here with, you know, my social well-being. So in 2025, I also want to find and be a part of a community of people with shared interests. And I think this is something I was really hoping to have accomplished by now. Now having lived in New York City for 2.5 years or so, I haven't. And I don't want to be hard on myself for that. Like I have made a couple of friends and I love my coworkers and those types of things, but I feel like I haven't found a place, or like the third space concept, I guess that's how you would describe it, is like I don't really have that, or people within that. I don't know what that will look like in 2025, but my goal is to find that somewhere and be a part of it. So the only goal that I guess I kind of regurgitated into 2025 is travel to 4 new places, DIY 4 gifts, going off the idea of wanting to make like that Christmas garland for people. I want to be more conscious of doing things like that for birthdays and for Christmas, or like just because gifts. Doesn't have to be crocheting, could be other types of DIY or creative art or things that I make. And that kind of gets at the idea of like diving deeper into a hobby a little bit, similar to I think that was my goal? Yeah, from 2024 was to get more into hobbies. So I feel like that's kind of like an extension of that, if that makes sense. Go to at least 2 shows or concerts. I realized that I have not been to a lot of shows, and not that I used to like go to shows and concerts all the time, but definitely used to do it way more often. It was something that Evan and I used to do, but like since the pandemic, I think we've been to maybe 3, maybe 4, not a lot. So I want to go see more artists. Last but not least, my last personal goal for 2025 is to find a new job. It probably seems like I just casually threw that in there, but to follow up on my December 2024 plan with me, where I talked about potentially having to move out of New York City, this is, I guess, my official announcement to confirm that I will be moving out of New York City in the summer of 2025, which means I will need to find a new job. I have a lot to say about it. I have a lot of thoughts, I have a lot of feelings, and I talk all about that in the video that I will be posting after this video. It's going to be like a bake with me, like chit chat, life updates type of thing. So if you want to hear why I'm moving out of the city, where I am moving to, and just my general feelings around it, then stick around and I will be uploading that video very soon. All right, so social media goals, I did not change too much since we know that I didn't really accomplish any of them, but that's okay. So I reached 10,000 subscribers on there. I specified uploading at least 48 videos. That comes out to about 1 video a week for 12 months. So if I happen to post more, because ideally in terms of consistency and gaining traction, I probably should post more than that, but just as a baseline, minimum 48 videos. Get monetized, buy a new camera lens, and then stay consistent with Bake Shit Happen Etsy and social media. So I did specify both this time. I would ideally love to get back into social media at this point. I guess that will likely just be Instagram. Is TikTok getting banned? Does anyone know? I have no idea. And then finally, financial goals. I really couldn't think of many. I don't know. If you have good ideas for financial goals for a 30-year-old, let me know. But I would like to start saving for a house. So I put, similar to my savings goal last time around, $2,000. Obviously I need more than that to buy a house, but just as a starting point for the year, as I'm also saving for other things simultaneously, paying for a wedding, traveling, moving, all of these things. Next one kind of related to that is to have all of my savings buckets completely full. And by that, I mean in the high yield savings account that I share with my partner, our bank lets you like visually break down your money into different buckets for different categories, so we have a bunch of different ones. At some point, and you can have goals for each one as well, it would be impossible for them to all be full all the time, because obviously like you're putting money in that you're eventually taking out for like vacation and stuff, but I would like there to be at least one point in time during the year 2025 where all of our buckets are completely full in terms of their individual goals. That would be very nice to look at and satisfying, and just knowing that we put in the hard work to save money for the things that are important to us. Last but not least is to buy a real couch. Not as much as we love this pink couch, now that we will be moving into a new apartment where we can hopefully fit a bigger couch and like a real, not Amazon, IKEA couch, which are good. They have a time and a place. I love nothing more than to just like crash onto a real big, comfortable couch and melt away into a couch potato. And I can't do that on this couch, but that costs money, so we need to save for that. Okay, I know that I've been talking for probably way too long and I'm probably, yeah, running out of camera battery, so we are gonna start talking about routines, which I did make a new page for in my lifestyle section. So just to quickly recap, I will need to find a new job, but not until the summer, and that means I still have like 6 months at my current job, and my schedule will be changing. So both the hybrid of it all and the work hours of it all will be completely different than it has been. So I want to be really mindful and really intentional about that, especially because my hours are changing, because most of the time I worked an 11 a.m. to a 7 p.m. shift for the past 2 years, which was really good for a lot of reasons. Like, I'm a morning person and I am, you know, waking up well before I need to be at work. That's how I prefer for it to be. And it was nice to be able to have the time at the beginning of my day to accomplish like my personal goals for my wellness, or, you know, film YouTube videos and do all these things and then go to work and then just kind of have my night. So I I'm really curious to see how this plays out and kind of having to move right into going to work and then having more free time in my evenings. I'm actually really hopeful for it because I will say just having that free time in my mornings, I think I learned that I like to kind of just chill out in my mornings, and whenever I would pressure myself to like get up and go to the gym or go to a spin class or go for a walk or just like stretch or something, like I'd get really in my head about it and be like, no, I just woke up, I need to like de-stress a little bit, whatever it is first. I don't know, there's always like a lot of argument back and forth in my mind around it. So as we'll talk about, I'm kind of restructuring things since I will have limited time in the mornings now, especially if I need to commute into the office, what incorporating certain activities at night will look and feel like. And I'm hoping my motivation for things will be a little bit better. So I've broken it down between kind of my 3 scenarios. So every single week, all of these scenarios will be happening. So there will be days that I am in the office and having to commute to work and working a 9 to 5 schedule. So that is column 1. Column 2 are the days where I'll be working 9 to 5, but I will be remote, sitting at that desk right there. And then there will also be 1 day per week where I am remote, but still doing that 11 to 7 shift. So that is this column right here. So just quickly, pretty much every single day, I intend to have all of the same activities, but time-wise might just be broken up a little bit differently. And I also like can't emphasize this enough that like I mostly just wrote this out to have the visual and the reminder and that idea of like once you put something into the universe, it's like more likely to happen. It feels like it actually exists. It's not just like jumbled in my head. So I'm not necessarily gonna like live and die by this 24/7 where like if I'm not eating breakfast by 7:15 on certain days that like everything is lost, right? Like there's flexibility here, but it's more so just like the mindset of if I do things roughly in this way, I know that it's going to feel good. So I would like to be waking up at the same time every single day, regardless of what kind of day it is. And I've always been that way for the past year. That time has been 6:30. Was I letting myself sleep in sometimes because I was having a bad day and I didn't have to be at work until 11? Absolutely. But now that I need to be at work at 9, whether it's right there or at the office, I still have limited time, not much time to sleep in, and I am going to be challenging myself to get up even earlier, 30 minutes sooner at 6 a.m. So I'm gonna start implementing that later this week. We will see how it goes. And then each day I'm gonna kick off by reading. Some days it will be a shorter amount of time. The days that I'm working remote, I'll read for a little bit longer. The days that I am going into the office, there simply is just not enough time to be active before work. So that will be an after work activity for at least one of the days. Friday is gonna end up being one of those days, one of my office days as well, most likely. And Fridays are just like, I'm working 9 to 5, I get off from work. I'm more likely to go to a happy hour than to go to the gym, and that's okay. That's what Fridays are for. Fridays probably won't look as nice as other days, but that's okay. So I have times for eating my breakfast, when I'm gonna pack my lunch. I note what time I need to leave for work. On the office days, just reminders of what I wanna do afterwards. So going right to the gym, which will require me bringing my gym stuff with me to work, which will be something new. I haven't had to do that before. And then I kept my dinner time about the same every single day. That actually maps onto when I've been having dinner now in my current schedule, working 11 to 7. So I think that will be a good way to ease into this routine of having some things just remain stable. So everything pretty much looks the same. The only thing I'm going to call attention to and just talk about, again, in case discussing these things are helpful for other people, is the days that I am remote, I carved out time for this like coffee and hobby or chill time. On my 9 to 5 days, it's only going to be about like 45 minutes or so. On my 11 to 7 days, it's about 2 hours. So within that time, obviously I'm making my coffee, I'm hanging out. On certain days, that might just be like catching up on a podcast or a YouTube channel I haven't watched in a while if I have nothing else to do, or if it's just a down day, giving myself permission to do that. Or what I would like for it to be is crocheting, filming a YouTube video, editing a YouTube video, working on my Etsy, doing things like that. I've actually changed up another part of my Notion planning that incorporates this idea, so we will put a pin into that. Lastly, for every single one as well, I have until 10 p.m., which is when I want to go to bed, or at least be in bed. That is when I will shower, I can prep for the next day, do hobbies, have chill time if I didn't get to do that earlier in the day, drink tea, stretch if I haven't, play with my, she's still here, play with my cats, hang out with Evan, just kind of like the catch-all of typical things that happen at the end of a day. Okay, someone remind me to add new camera battery to my goals for social media for 2025 because just having one battery is ain't working no more. Okay, so I think we finished going through my routines. I'm happy with this visual. Of course, this is something that I can go back and tweak as it makes sense. A lot of this will be brand new, just kind of in the ordering of things, when they're happening during the day, doing things earlier than I'm used to, having that 11 to 7 shift. But overall, I'm excited to do a 9 to 5 shift and then challenge myself. I don't know if it's really challenging myself, but then incorporate some of the activities that I used to attempt to do in the morning, but then like half the time wouldn't actually do in the morning, but then also wouldn't do them at night because I stress myself out about it. Just a new way to rethink things. New year, new routines, new perspective, new fun, I don't know. So before we go into the Finch app, I wanted to come back to my dashboard and show how I'm kind of incorporating some of that into my weekly to-do list. So as you may already know, I started having this new visual for my weekly to-do list that has been working rather well. I'm actually, since it's that weird time between Christmas and New Year's, I actually don't know what week this is for, so I'm gonna go ahead and move that to the archive so then I can make a new one and then show you what I have added. It's really not much, but it's the little things. So every time I hit the new weekly to-do list button, it gives me a new template that I incorporated all these things into. So what has been there the whole time for every single day is read and movement. I've now added just the colons so I can be more intentional because I used to have this like movement page that I'll probably get rid of. I don't know, sometimes this works for me. It's just like a monthly calendar. Sometimes it works for me, sometimes it doesn't. But I think this will remind me to go in, like when I think through my weeks ahead, like every Sunday or Monday, add in what movement I'm doing on which day. And then I also incorporated an area for hobby or chill time so I can define what that will be. Because I think when I've attempted to do stuff like this in the past, I'll be like, oh yeah, I have a couple of hours tomorrow morning before I work and like blah, blah, blah. Like I'll just kind of do whatever I want and I just end up sitting on this couch and watching YouTube, which is great sometimes, but not all of the time. So I think if I have a predefined activity, whether that's filming or editing or working on my Etsy, whatever it is. So I have that for every single day. And then the other days I have my weekend one as well. That none of that has changed. So I think this will be really helpful. So next, what I thought would be fun to show you all is my Finch app. So I have this as a widget on my home screen. So I'll go ahead and click it. If you're not familiar with the Finch app, ooh, how am I feeling? I'm feeling regular smiley face. I don't know what it is, but I can't put just like the full smiley face ever. Maybe I should think about the reasons for that a little bit more. But if you're not familiar with the Finch app, it's essentially a self-care app and tool that allows you to track goals and progress and work towards habits, all while like raising this little baby Finch bird that you like buy outfits for and have a whole house set up. But I just wanted to show you all the things that I have been tracking and see if there's anything that I want to change for 2025. So again, I've only been using this for the past like 50 or so days, but I love it. I do have the paid version. I think I got it. It was definitely on sale for $30 something. So far, absolutely worth it. But right now, at least the goals that I have, oh, how do I show you like all of my goals? My goals, okay. So these are all the goals, and keep in mind that not all of them show up on every single day, but I have read daily, take 3 deep breaths daily, wake up by 7:30 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday, drink tea daily. That's normally a nighttime activity for me, but I should be more open to doing that during the day. I should think about that more. Laundry, just a weekly reminder to do that on Sundays. I also tend to do laundry on Thursdays as well, so maybe I should add that there. Ice roll, little skincare, Wednesdays and Sundays, drink lemon water daily, do one thing that makes me happy, wake up at 6:30 on weekdays. We're gonna have to change that. Eat a fruit or a veg cup. So that's just like eat a healthy snack, basically, at least once per day, on weekdays anyway. Take a stretch break, Finch backup file, it's a thing they add for you. Wash my face twice a day, face mask on Wednesdays and Sundays, the same day that I ice roll, daily movement, and then drink at least 54 ounces of water, which is half of my preferred intake. I would prefer to have 108 ounces of water per day, but I'm lucky if I get to the 54, so that's why it's at 54. So right off the bat, I know I need to change wake up at 6:30 to wake up at 6 a.m. on the weekdays. So that's set weekly for weekdays. Another thing I want to change is washing my face. So that's not to say I'm not gonna wash my face twice per day. Still very much doing that. But that is something that I am always doing no matter what. And the way that the Finch app works is essentially like positive association and like reward system, right? So like when you complete more goals, you collect like their currency. You also send your Finch on adventures so he learns more and he grows more, all of these things. And I feel like by having wash my face on there twice per day is just like kind of a cop out to get to the end goal, get to the reward sooner, because I'm gonna be doing these things anyway. I need to like focus on the things that I actually kind of struggle to do on a regular basis and keep the habit with. Like washing my face I have no issues completing that habit. So I'm actually gonna delete that. How do I delete it? I'll archive it. And which now means I have to be even more intentional about making sure I do other goals throughout the day so I can reap all of the rewards that the Finch app will give me. Okay, so got rid of that. Wake up at 6 a.m. The do one thing that makes me happy, I want to reinvent that or just reword that to say work on a hobby, because I think that's how I've essentially been treating this, is like do one thing that makes me happy. Like that could be anything, right? It's like, well, waking up and having my coffee makes me happy. You know, sitting on the couch watching YouTube makes me happy. Working on a hobby makes me happy. So I think, yeah, I'm gonna just rephrase that a little bit. Work on a hobby. So it could happen at any time. We'll repeat that daily, sure, why not? Other than that, I'll still keep the wake up at 7:30 on the weekends. I think I'm good with that. So there we go. We've now reset our Notion and reset our Finch app. All right, so last but not least, I'm gonna go into my social media section here and go to the growth tracker. As I said, I've stopped kind of reviewing this on my channel just because since I'm not as consistent as I want to be, the growth isn't like all that big or meaningful. Not to say that it's not something, but like it just hasn't been worth talking about. But for anyone who is curious about these types of things, if you're also out here trying to create content and do the damn thing, then this is for you. That's why I put it at the end, because I figured most people probably don't really care. But I've been tracking my growth on YouTube since May of 2023. So if we want to kind of look overall, we can go back and see when I first started tracking, I was at 2,559. I'm now at 3,104. Not amazing, but it is what it is. I feel like when you look at this part of it, that's where you actually see the difference that consistency makes, right? Like at one point I wasn't gaining any, or I was just gaining a few, where you can then see going into 2023, 2024, those numbers like slowly get a little bit higher and then they drop back down because things are how they are. And it has been a challenge for me to commit to this, but it is pretty cool. And I did just make this section for comparisons where I can then go and make a filter for January. So, well, I guess we should do December. So looking at December 2023 to December 2024, I gained 331 subscribers. So that's 331 new people within a year's time, which is, we're looking from 2022 to 2023, a significant difference. I wasn't tracking it, but I know for certain because I wasn't quite back into YouTube again, because I think I said I've been like on and off this platform for many years. But very cool to see. So when we do this again next December, I can track all of the Decembers, and hopefully the number is even larger than that. But I think this is cool to just come back, be able to reflect on, look at the growth, have the different tags. I do also track watch time hours and lifetime views. Watch time hours has dropped down just because past couple of months have been not my greatest in terms of commitment, but lifetime views is always going to go up because they can't go down. Oh my goodness. Well, that certainly felt like a journey, but as it should be. I think it is important to take the time to think about these things on a yearly basis, and then for me personally, even on that monthly basis for certain things, then on a weekly basis for other things, even a daily basis. I have daily to-do lists that I use for work and other things in my life as well. I think it can be incredibly helpful, so it is worth the time to do it. I personally also find it helpful just to share about it with others and talk about it. Again, that idea, if you put it out into the universe, it's more likely to happen, hopefully. We love accountability, we love sharing and supporting each other, so that is the whole point of what this is. So regardless of your reasons for being here, if it was to learn something new about Notion, get inspiration for tracking your habits or setting new goals, I hope you're able to find that in this video, and I would love to hear about what you're hoping your 2025 will be like in the comments, so please let me know. With that, I do see my little red battery light blinking again, so cheers to her, cheers to you. I'm excited for what 2025 has in store because, good God, there is a lot coming up for me personally between moving and wedding and finding a new job and just so many other life changes. There is a lot of good and I'm excited for it, and I'm glad I was able to take the time to plan it all out with you. So thank you so much for watching. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy 2025, and I will see you with the next one.